Okay, welcome, my friends and gems, to this broadcast on how to. Actually, we're going to be focusing on an information question and answer session about the stem cell activation patches. And one of the questions that someone asked is, can you receive the benefit from the patches by just wearing one patch? And for those of you who are wondering about that, yes, eventually X39 will take care of everything. But let me reply with this. Your body is a complicated mechanism of 56 trillion cells in the body. And we know from having patched, at this point now, thousands of people, that when you take care of not just activating with the pluripotent cell activation of the mother and the daughter, and using the Fantastic Five, you expedite the process, because just with X39, let's just take that as an example, just X39 by itself, this will increase your glutathione levels by 30% just as a standalone. And so let me share with you the story of Bob Campbell, and you can watch his entire interview where he talked about his entire journey of how he had suffered since 1972 from severe plantar fasciitis. And his plantar fasciitis was so severe that he could not even have a single sheet touch his feet. In fact, his feet couldn't even be on his bed. His bed had to hang over the side of his bed because the pain was so bad, and he could not let the sheet, touch his feet. On top of that, he also had prostate cancer. And on top of that, plantar fasciitis, horrific pain, and prostate cancer, he also had really severe skin cancer, to the point where he had scabs all over his skin, all over his face, his arms, his torso. His body was filled with scabs from the very advanced levels of skin cancer. And when he started on the patches almost 4 years ago, and the person who started him on the patches did not have any kind of a medical background. They were a brand partner that had no medical background. They were just interested in making money on the patches. I'm not saying that to diss the person, because thank goodness they started him on the patches, or he may not be here today with us. But he was 72 years old when he started on the patch, and he only started with the 39 because he was not allowed to order anything other than the 39. That's what he was told. He could have gone into his back office and ordered whatever he wanted, but he was told that he could only use this. So that's what he did. So the first thing that he noticed in the first month was deeper, sounder sleep, but he still had pain. He should have been told to get IceWave. He should have been told to have X39, glutathione, carnosine, and neon, but he was not. So he trucked along at a slower pace, because had he added glutathione right away, then instead of only a 30% increase in glutathione, he would have had a 300 to 600% increase in glutathione. Mind you, glutathione is present in every organ of the body, every muscle in the body. And had he had that increase in glutathione, because glutathione is tied to your nociceptive system, he would have experienced some pain relief just from that alone. But had the person been either properly trained or had been tied to a group like ours, which we are under Dr. Stacy Hallweger. She has almost 900 doctors and holistic care practitioners, and over 45, almost 50,000 people that she's put on the patches. My Telegram group alone has 6,500 people, all of whom are on the patches, and a great deal of them are doctors and scientists and molecular biologists, and then other forms of holistic care practitioners like craniosacral specialists, doctors in traditional Chinese medicine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then a lot of people like yourself who are not necessarily doctors or holistic care practitioners, but you have other health and wellness specialties, functional medicine nutritionists, and people who are just passionate about the patches, who also need assistance and need to have a lot of their questions answered. So in his case, the first 7 months, he was still in pain, but he was getting deeper, sounder sleep. And he also noticed a very large increase in energy in the first 30 to 45 days. So he continued to wear the patches. And after 7 months, he was still in pain. And he was even thinking about stopping, even though he had an increase in energy and was sleeping better. but he was still in a lot of pain from the plantar fasciitis, the prostate cancer, still getting up umpteen times a night, to go to the bathroom, and the skin cancer. That anybody who's had any skin, anything, how uncomfortable and how painful that is. He had that all over his body. And he's naturally, he's got white hair now, but he's originally a redhead. And you know that the pigment of redheads in the medical field, there's certain things that are exceptions, like redheads are always, there's certain things, we have regimens and protocols that are different for redheads than the rest of the population, kind of like O blood type. There's different things for O blood type that the other blood types don't share those common things. So there's, the chemistry is a little bit different. Bottom line is that it wasn't until after his first year that then he became aware that he was able to order glutathione, carnosine, and eon, and the X49 patch. And that's what really changed it for him, because as soon as he added all those other things, then things started to happen a lot faster, but you're doing a lot more signaling of the body. He's wearing 5 patches now instead of just the 1. So at the 23rd, his last thing that got taken care of, because the first thing that was taken care of was the plantar fasciitis, then his prostate cancer, but his big holdout, because he had very severe skin cancer, his last holdout was his skin. And he said that at the 23rd month, he happened to be in the shower, and he was, mind you, he had gone to the dermatologist, oncologist before. And the first time when he had all these lesions throughout his body and all these scabs, the oncologist told him, we need to burn these off. He had no idea what that really meant. And when they went to burn those off, he said it was so incredibly painful. And then, much to his horror, all those scabs grew back. He returned to the oncologist, and the oncologist, I'm sorry, but we are going to have to burn those off again. And he said, no, can't do that again. And the oncologist said, there's no other option. You have to burn them off again. So he subjected himself again. He said it was horrible. It was a nightmare. It was horrific. The pain, he goes, I can't even begin to describe to you the pain. And he underwent that again. And it was like a nightmare, because they grew back again. And he said, I'm not doing this a third time. I'm not subjecting myself to that. There's got to be something else. And that's when he was introduced to this patch. But the person who introduced him to this patch told him, you can only use this patch for the next year. You're not allowed to use anything else but this patch. So he did as he was told. It wasn't until the second year that then after the 12th month, then he started adding, and then things happened exponentially. So he did get a benefit. It's just that it's slower than if you're signaling the primary systems of the body, which is why I recommend that you use glutathione, carnosine, and eon, along with the mother and the daughter stem cell activation patch. So at the 23rd month, what happened next was he was, as he tells the story, because I had him come on to my YouTube channel and he shared his entire story. And he says, lo and behold, he happened to be in his shower, and he's just taking a shower like he normally does. And that particular day, for no apparent reason, at the 23rd month, all of a sudden, he said, all the scabs from his face and his body, he said they started to fall off onto the shower. He said he couldn't believe it. And then when he looked at his skin after he got out of the shower, he couldn't believe, he said there were no scars. There were no scars on his face. There were no scars on his arms. After having had those burned off twice, you would think that he would have a fair amount of scarring, but he didn't. And he was in shock at how smooth and how pink his skin is. In fact, when you watch the video, you'll see in the video how he doesn't have any scars on his face. He's very fair complected because, like I said, he's originally a redhead. And he's been completely pain-free, and he has a complete clean bill of health verified by his doctor, and he's never looked back after that. And he always says to Dr. Stacy, he says, Dr. Stacy, had you started me on the patches, had you enrolled me rather than the person, I'm eternally grateful to the person who enrolled me, but had I known, had you enrolled me, or had I been exposed to you before I actually was, I would have started on glutathione, carnosine, and neon and the daughter stem cell activation patch far sooner. And I probably could have cut that time, and who knows how many months or maybe even a year of grief shaved off of what he had to experience. In his case, it was 23 months. He says, was it worth it? Absolutely. Would he do it over again? Absolutely. Because the alternative is worse pain, and possibly he may not be here any longer with us. So can you do just one patch? Absolutely. But if you do the mother and the daughter, and you do the Fantastic Five, and if you can afford to do the Fantastic Five, then your results are going to be faster because you're taking care of the primary systems of the body. That's all. So I hope this answers that question for a few of you who have asked that question. I wanted to start off this broadcast with that. And with that being said, we will go on to talk about our patches and what they do and what we can and what we cannot say. We don't make any medical claims. Let me share with you my presentation. I'm going to start. Best place to start is at the beginning. Wouldn't you agree? These are photobiomodulation cell activation patches, also known as phototherapy patches. Some people call them cell activation patches or pluripotent cell activation patches. So we're going to be talking, we already prefaced this a little bit, telling you about Bob's story, right? Good friend Bob, he's got a great voice. And we're going to be talking about the Fantastic Five. The Fantastic Five. Those are the 5 of the 11 patches that we have that I like to affectionately call them the Fantastic Five, because the results are phenomenal. They're fantastic. For the people who decide to start on the Fantastic Five, they have incredible results. We have people who are blind. My beautiful friend and Jim Carroll here knows our friend Annie, who in August she was blind and now she can see. And she also knows of Carolyn Chu's brother, Jeff, who was blind in one eye. That's 2 people now in our group who were blind, who now can see. We're seeing extraordinary things. And also, like, again, we're not making any medical claims, but we're reporting what we're witnessing, the people that we're personally putting these patches on, and we're seeing the results that we're getting. Carol, when she came to us, she had AFib. Not anymore, though. She no longer has AFib. She has a great deal of relief because of that too. So let's go on to talk about our mother pluripotent cell activation patch. And let's talk about our disclaimer, because we want to maintain that beautiful relationship that we have that allows us to provide these patches in 81, soon to be 82 countries. Our disclaimer is that the patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. We don't heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer protocols. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified, licensed healthcare professional. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. No medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. These are intended for human use only, although I will report to you that a lot of people in my group, people that I'm responsible for that have gotten started on the patches, a great deal of them put their patches on their animals. And I am astounded at how many dogs have cataracts. And in less than 3 months, in about 2 months' time, whether they're a little Yorkie Terrier or they're a big Great Dane, they go from having cataracts to not having any cataracts. And you can clearly see it in the pictures too. And some of them, like Great Danes that have had hip problems, they're older, like 9, 10 years old, could barely walk. Now they're running around like a puppy. So that's an individual choice, just like you have an individual choice as to, you can do dog food, or you can cook food or give them table scraps from your meals. That's your prerogative, right? We all have a choice. So we're going to share with you also that there's been a recent change, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has taken the position that all claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products like ours, will be regarded as a drug claim. This is something new. It's not that old. And the FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides, such as GHKCU, is inappropriate for a general wellness product. So in the past, we were able to speak freely about this and say that GHKCU copper peptide activates the P63 protein in the blood the moment that the stem cell activation patch touches your skin. And we are no longer allowed to say that. And so I am making full disclosure here, letting you know what we could say before and what we no longer can say, because there's been a change recently with the FDA, and because we are FDA compliant Class 1 medical devices, and we do actually manufacture these in FDA registered facilities in the US, we want to make sure that we're following the rules. These patches are based on the work. So I'm going to give you a little history. Dr. Lauren Picard has nothing to do with the patches in the sense that we're just going back into history. And if you go back to 1973, you'll discover that Dr. Lauren Picard discovered in 73 that GHKCU copper peptide activated a third, that's 30% of previously dormant stem cells, turning genes to a younger, healthier state. That was groundbreaking. It's still to this day groundbreaking and monumental. For that work, Dr. Picard won the Nobel Prize. Rightfully so, because this is not just anti-aging, this is age reversal. Since then, there's over 2,000 published studies, NLH, NIH, PubMed. You can Google Scholar, you can knock yourself out looking up over 2,000 studies where they've reproduced the same outcome over and over and over again. That shows that when you activate GHKCU copper peptide, it activates a third of your previously dormant cells, turning genes to a younger, healthier state. So what happened 23 years ago? Well, David Schmidt was actually under contract with the Department of Defense to invent all sorts of things for them. And he had a tremendous amount of success inventing all sorts of things that they were really quite astonished that he could actually do these things. So then they and said, David, our Navy SEALs, we're giving them amphetamines, uppers, and energy drinks. And that works fantastic. However, it's really harsh on the body. And is there a chance that you could invent something that would energize them, enhance their energy, that's more organic and holistic? Because they're the first line of defense, and we really need that for them to get them off of these amphetamines, uppers, and energy drinks. David, being a man of prayer and of deep meditation, has been inventing things since he was a child, went into prayer and into meditation. He's a self-professed Christian. We're not touting Christianity or any religious belief here. We're just telling you this is the scientist belief system. And as he went into prayer and into meditation, he asked the effective question. He asked for that divine wisdom to come to him. And lo and behold, he had this divine download, this packet of information that he's like, oh my gosh. He ran to the lab, started testing it, and that was the birth and the genesis of these stem cell activation patches. Lo and behold, it worked. And that's when the Navy SEALs then had access to the energy enhancer patch 23 years ago. It was not available to the public 23 years ago. 19 years ago, it became available to the public. Because in 2004, when we had 9/11 and all that chaos, and we don't have to recap everything that happened about the Twin Towers and all that, but defense spending changed, and then he was freed to explore expanding the line to not just enhancing energy, but to activate everything in the body, which gave birth over the last 19 years to 11 of these patches, of which the mother activation patch became available just 4 years ago. That's it, just 4 little short years ago, this became available. And then the daughter activation patch just became available 2 years ago, 2.5 to be exact. In May, it'll be 3. So we're going to talk about these patches. And the thing to know is that, giving you a little bit of biology, we're going to talk about stem cells are pluripotent cells. So what are pluripotent cells? Pluripotent simply means pluri comes from the word plural, potent comes from potentials. It means many potentials. So each one of your stem cells, your pluripotent cells, when they're inside your body, they have 100% of all the programming that you need from the time you were conceived in your mother's womb till you go all the way to the very end, till you take your last breath. So each one of those cells have all the information required to make your cardiac cells, your enterocyte cells, which are your stomach cells, fat cells, red cells, nerves, inside, outside of the body. It takes care of you comprehensively. When you are at conception and you are about to be conceived, Your mother's ovum unites with your father's sperm. And at conception, you now have 23,688. That's almost 24,000 genes and stem cells that now you have complete information. And now you can begin to form into a little embryo in your mother's womb. Fast forward to 36 to 40 weeks of since conception. And now you have a fetus that then becomes a newborn baby, right? Fast forward to 30 years of age. What happens at 30 years of age? Well, guess what? When you're just barely 30 years old, 50% of your original stem cells go dormant. They don't disappear. They're not damaged. They're not destroyed. They just go dormant. Dormant means they just go to sleep. Fast forward to 60 years of age. So from age 30, progressing up to age 60, you have 50, 60%, 70%, 80, till you get to 60 years of age. And now you have 90% of your stem cells that turn off. Again, they just go dormant until you put a cell activation patch on. And once you do that, the moment it touches your skin, you have a third of your previously dormant stem cells that are now on and working in your favor, which is why you have this very rapid repair, because now you're closer to the state of someone who's about 30 or 35 years old, even if you're 60, 70, 80, or 90 years old. My oldest person is about 90, just turned 94 years old. So my youngest is about 4 years old. There's literally 90 years between them. And this works on every mammal because we are all the building block for every mammal, our stem cells, okay? So your body is your temporary housing unit. That's what houses the energy, the personality, the identity of you, right? And if you look inside your body, you have stem cells, which are very similar to printer ink cartridges. Because not everybody is thinking about stem cells on a daily basis, unless you're someone like me, that we teach and train people and educate people about what activating your pluripotent cells are like and using this wearable light technology, right? Or unless you're a molecular biologist. We got a lot of molecular biologists in this group, epidemiologists, scientists, not to mention clinical practitioners and doctors with multiple degrees and PhDs. So stem cells, you can think of them as an ink printer cartridge, because most people have a printer at home or have access to a printer. And when you have brand new color or black and white ink, you have 100% of the ink. Those copies are identical to the original. You cannot tell them apart, right? It's just like having 100% of your stem cells. That's why you don't see a kid with gray hair at 10 years of age or 15 years of age or 20 years of age, because they still have 100% of their stem cells. By the time they reach 30, though, 50% of them have turned off, right? And so that brings us to when you have 20%, 10% of your stem cells left. And now, when your stem cells go to make a replica of that original and to replace that damaged cell and get rid of that damaged cell through urination, defecation, and perspiration, guess what? When you only have 10% of your ink left, of your stem cells that are left, it's a faded version of the original. So now that brings us to ask, how do these patches work? Great question, because these patches work through photobiomodulation. What's photobiomodulation? It's a giant word. Photo means light. Biological. We're biological beings, right? Photobiomodulation means movement, means change. So photobiomodulation is basically wearable light technology. It's phototherapy. And the patches work through phototherapy because we are infrared light beams. Inside our bodies, we have electrons inside all of our cells. We have a multitude of electrons, and we have also electrolytes that flow through our bloodstream that, as a result of your eating a light barcode, which is all that food is. If you're eating man-made processed foods, that's not true. But if you're eating spinach, if you're eating asparagus, if you're eating pineapples, if you're eating avocados, apples, oranges, berries, corn, whatever, beef even, because bear in mind, the cattle or the chicken, let's stick to the cows. The cow is eating grass then they are getting the nutrients from the grass, which the grass is getting their nutrients from photosynthesis from the sun. And the cow is also getting nutrients from the sun because their skin is exposed outdoors, right, to the sun. So photosynthesis through the flesh of the cow, and their consumption comes from eating their environment, which is the grass. They eat it. Now you eat that cow, and now you're going to break down as you chew and you masticate. Masticate is a technical term for just chewing. And now as you break that down with your saliva, and the enzymes in your saliva starts to go into your stomach, and the hydrochloric acid starts to break it down into electrolytes that get absorbed through the lining of not just your stomach, but also through your intestines. And from your intestines, then it goes into your bloodstream. Now you have those electrolytes along with oxygen that go from your bloodstream to your heart, to your brain, to nourish and to signal your entire body. That's kind of how this whole thing works. Very simplified manner of explaining it, but in a nutshell, that's kind of how it works. So the patches work because you have that infrared light inside your body. If I were to look at you with night vision goggles, you would notice that as I look at you, whether you're military, you're law enforcement, if I look at you through night vision goggles, I would see you glowing in the dark because your infrared light is not just contained inside the skin walls, but it glows outside of your skin. So you literally glow in the dark. That infrared light, the moment I put this patch on, it's going to bounce off of this crystal lattice and it's going to reflect back into your tissue up to 4 inches deep. So if you look at a diamond crystal, I want you to think about this for a moment and take a look at this diagram here. I'm going to take a diamond crystal. I'm going to shine a flashlight on this diamond crystal. And now you're seeing the light reflecting back. You can see it glitter back at you, right? You have all the different colors of the prism reflect back to my eyes. This patch has a proprietary blend of organic sugar crystals, salt crystals, organic sugar crystals, salt crystals, organic hydrogen, oxygen, water crystals, and a proprietary blend of organic amino acids. Those crystals are just a mechanical structure that's set to a very specific crystal lattice pattern and set to a specific frequency. So the moment your skin makes contact with it, your skin's not absorbing anything. Your skin is reflecting back from that crystal lattice back into your body up to 4 inches deep. That signal that that patch has for X39, X49, etc. And what happens then is what I'm about to share with you in the bullet points in just a minute here. So I cut this out from a research paper that talked about X39. We have 90 clinical studies throughout the world done in the United States, Europe, as well as Asia. And while phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, the LifeWave patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patch has been placed. So supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release. Particulate release just means tiny little particles are released. Gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and a visible spectrum of light. This then stimulates that area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. Variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 to 200 years, and in that time, there's been very little evidence of any negative side effects. So this suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. Okay, and so I want you to notice this incredible little patch. Let me take off this patch is non-transdermal. That means that nothing transfers into the skin. I'm going to show you both sides, the back side, and this is the sticky side. You see the crystal lattice there? Crystals are so tiny that you can't really see the crystals with a naked eye. You really need to use a magnifying glass or a microscope, right? They're non-transdermal simply means that nothing transfers into the dermis being the skin. Non-invasive, nothing crosses that skin barrier. They're non-invasive. Again, this is just a mechanical device to redirect your infrared light back into your body. They're organic, holistic FDA-compliant Class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. We manufacture our products at FDA-registered facilities in the United States, and our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board. We manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device. In fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and ISO 13485. That's a quality standard. All right. While you're on the patches, even if you're not on the patches, I would encourage all of you, if you're not on the patches yet, today, please get started on drinking 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water, because water is the building block of the body. In fact, water is the primary structure that holds up your DNA. When you are, a lot of things shrink in the body when you are dehydrated. And one of the first things that shrinks is your brain, because your brain is hydrophilic, means it loves water. Hydro, water, philic, love. So your body, your brain loves water. Some people get headaches, and it's just simply a matter of them being dehydrated. They just need to drink more water. Did you know that for every cup of coffee you have, you need to have 2 of water to offset it, just so that you're at par? Did you know that? It's true. When you're 2% dehydrated, you start to feel thirsty in your mouth. 8% dehydration, your DNA starts to unravel. I think I even have the picture of the DNA showing. Let me see. Oh, I thought I still had it open. I had it open earlier today, but yeah, I have a picture of DNA. DNA, it unravels when you're at 8% dehydration. I'll show that on the next broadcast. How's that? Okay. At 10% dehydration, you lose your mind. Plain and simple. And at 12% dehydration, you die. Your body it's a complete hard shutdown. You become aware, realize and recognize that when you're dehydrated, your proteins in your body, they actually fold. I want you to tell me, each one of you don't have to answer here, but I want you to think an answer in your head. If I were to tell you, I want you to walk around the rest of your day or the next 24 hours, bent from the waist down with your head at your feet, how far could you walk? How effective would you be able getting down the stairs? How effective would you be getting into a car, going anywhere, doing anything? Probably not. I can speak for myself. I would not be very effective. First of all, I would not be able to tell where I'm going. Okay. And your proteins fold when you're dehydrated. They stop working because they're folded. Okay. And so that's why it's so important to drink water. The other thing is, if you want to look for those of you who are more neuro nerds and are really into biology and glycolysis cycle and so forth inside the body, there's something called the Krebs cycle, that when your proteins are folded, the Krebs cycle doesn't work. That's the beginning of all sorts of problems with the body and different conditions that give you XYZ diagnosis, okay? So let's talk about how often you're going to wear these patches. These patches are worn daily, and you wear them for the next 12 months. You're going to be wearing 12 hours on, then 12 hours off. So we have a diurnal day. So we have the daytime, which is from sunrise to sunset, and then you have nighttime, which is sunset to sunrise. It's diurnal, right? Our bodies are Bluetoothed to the sun. The sun is present from sunrise to sunset, and we're Bluetoothed to the sun. We have melatonin and serotonin cycles that are tied to the sunlight and then to the darkness. So melatonin, to put you to sleep, serotonin to get you up. And so it's signaled from your eyes actually seeing the sunlight, the sunrise in the morning. In fact, your pulse ox rate and a lot of other things, there's literal photosynthesis, just like plants, that take place as your skin receives sunlight in the morning. It's one of the most important things that you can do. One of the best practices you can get into is to being unrobed and exposing your bare skin front to back to the natural sunlight, not through a window, preferably an open window, if at all a window, not through a balcony, your backyard, facing east, and then letting your skin receive all the photoreceptors are receiving that photosynthesis. You're getting vitamin A from the UVA light and vitamin D. Vitamin A and vitamin D both turn into hormones in the body. There is no man-made supplement that can that can beat that, because that's the optimal. Natural born vitamin A is being activated through your skin receptors through that process. If you have any issues with your breast or your private parts, those parts have to be exposed to that early sunlight in the morning. The other thing is the moment for people who wear pulsometers that measure your pulse, that also measure your pulse oxygen rate. You will notice, and I've had people who wear pulsometers every day. I had a gentleman who, when I told him to start doing this, he was astonished that the very first day he actually went out to his balcony, east-facing balcony, in the morning. He said immediately his pulsometer went from 92 to 97, 5 points up from 92 to 97. The moment his skin received sunlight, he said, wow, my pulse ox immediately improved. He said, yep. He goes, it's instant. I said, it sure is. It's just like putting the patches. It's instant. As soon as that infrared light is being redirected back into your body based on that lattice work, it's signaling very specific instructions in your body. So you're going to be wearing it 12 hours, let's say 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then at 9 p.m., you remove it, allow for the rest, the repair, and the restore cycle. This image over here to the right, you're going to see that we call this kissing patches, where the patches are simply connected. The white lattice is not overlapping each other. You have the adhesive overlaps, but the circles don't touch each other. And then you apply them. You could put all 5 of them in a row in your neck bump, or on below your belly button under your conception vessel 6, which has to do with all things having to do with your reproductive system, your digestive system, and your hormonal system. All right. So we're going to talk about Dr. John Harmon. He had a right bundle branch blockage. You can find his whole testimonial he shared on my YouTube channel at damelillianwalker.com. He had a right bundle branch blockage, and it took 14 months for him to go from having that right bundle branch blockage that 3 cardiologists told him it's inoperable. You'll have to be on heart meds for the remainder of your life. Nothing we can do than manage your meds, and your lifespan is going to be compromised, shortened because of this. 14 months after starting on these patches, that was about 2 years ago, right bundle branch blockage disappeared, confirmed by all 3 cardiologists. All 3 cardiologists told Dr. Harmon, never seen this before. Didn't even know that this was possible. This is the first time I ever see a right bundle branch blockage disappear. That's unheard of. And of course, then he shared with them, well, I've been on these, these activation patches for 14 months. They're like, wow, these are obviously working. He also was rejuvenated, as you can see. We're not going to belabor that point, but you can clearly see he started off with gray hair, and he no longer has gray hair. No, he didn't dye it. You can still see he has gray and a little sprinkles of gray on top as well, but he's definitely much younger looking now. Side note, when it comes to collagen production, because we do get the increase in collagen production from wearing the patches, when you're just 25 years old, your fibroblasts begin to decline at just 25 years of age. And that's one of the #1 things that are used in the production of collagen. So we're going to have that activated as a direct result of wearing these patches. So we're going to talk about Barry. He was the first person who had long haulers, and he had horrible insomnia, headaches, nausea, low stamina, and extreme fatigue. Felt miserable for 18 months until we started him on the patches on the 23rd of June. We put the patches on, and then he received the patches in the late afternoon, early evening, Toronto time. So because he hadn't slept in 18 months, I said, let's not wait till tomorrow morning for you to put the patches on. Let's just put them on tonight, because I want you to get a good night's rest, and I want you to get relief as quickly as possible. We can transition you to day use at any time. So we started him on the patches, and he wore the patches. The very next day, I told him, I want you to, same day that I told him to put the patches on, I said, get back to me tomorrow. Let me know how your sleep was, and so on and so forth. So the very next day, I got this message from him, and I was so excited to read this, because he said, hey, Lillian, just a note, don't know if it's a placebo or if the activation patches work that quick or what, but I had really good sleep, a little better sleep than other nights, fell asleep quicker. Today, I'm just on a high. I am ecstatic, and Gwen sees that in me, and I feel really good physically. When I woke this morning, no headache, no nausea, Yeah, it's just been phenomenal day. So thank you, and I'll update you as we go along. Hope all is well. And thanks. Bye. So that was the first person that I patched who had long haulers. He had gotten COVID. Again, we don't make any medical claims, but I'm just reporting his results. He got the COVID and then suffered with a horrible long haulers for 18 months until we put the patches on him. Since then, pretty much every person that I've patched with, whether they have that or they have any kind of a flu or any similar related symptoms with high fever, body aches, chills, etc., within 24 hours, they have a significant amount of relief because your whole body is being brought into homeostasis. So this is Kathy. Everyone notices the incredible outward transformation, but the inward remodeling job that she had done, she is free of autoimmune disorder from 3 breast implants that she suffered with for 33 years. You can see it's pretty drastic. From January to July, she went from having a lot of wrinkles, a lot of crepey skin, to none whatsoever, and she looks 20 years younger. This is a 63-year-old woman. She was 62 when she started on these patches. That was over a year ago because she started January of 2022. I also interviewed her. She shared her testimonial. So if you want to watch the whole thing, you can watch that in my playlist of testimonials of body and mind transformation. Really quite extraordinary. This is my story. I got hit by a bus. Yes, a real legitimate Orange County Transit Authority bus. Just 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride. Miserable experience, suffered a traumatic brain injury, that's brain damage, neck injury, back injury, leg injury, laceration, ankle to knee, lost all of my short-term memory. We're talking not curbed short-term memory. I had 0 short-term memory. Long-term memory intact, short-term memory, zippo. Didn't even know that for the first year. Didn't realize that or learn that till the second year, at which point I was horrified. And as a holistic care practitioner that specializes in neurosomatic practices, I repatterned the brain to release physical and emotional trauma. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I have to do this on myself to get my memory back. You'll see videos on my YouTube channel where I talk about that. There's also plenty of podcasts on YouTube and Facebook as well, and YouTube channels that interviewed me about this. I'm not going to go over all these symptoms because there's too many. It takes way too long. And Wellness Superheroes, a great YouTube channel, and I have their episode also on my channel. I do share at greater length because some of these things, some people are going, oh, what I have is, really rare, like something like nystagmus, which is common with traumatic brain injuries. Long story short, I got rid of this entire list of things that were wrong, and all these things were resolved after wearing the patches. And I started to notice big changes between the 3rd and 4th week. I'm not in the 82% of people who felt something the moment the patch was put on. A lot of people, 82% feel something immediately. So I tell people oftentimes when I patch them, you may not feel anything when we patch you. Like I didn't feel anything. I'm in that 18% that didn't feel anything. I didn't realize any changes or feeling anything until between that 3rd and 4th week at that 21 to 28 day mark. So here's the laundry list of things that the mother activation patch does. And again, we used to be able to say that the patch activates your body by its own infrared light through phototherapy. It resets a third of your genes to your younger, healthier state. The FDA doesn't want us telling you that anymore, even though we have 90 clinical studies that show that all these significant effects over 30 and 60 days. However, so I'm letting you know that what the FDA, that's why we had this disclaimer earlier saying about what we can, what we can't say. So we can say that this regenerates cells, replacing damaged cells, which is awesome. If you really were to look at this, regenerating cells, replacing damaged cells, that pretty much covers everything on this list. If you think about it, because if you're replacing a damaged cell, that's game over. You replace any damaged cell, you replace enough of them, whatever you got going on, it's going to disappear. This will restore collagen. It does rebuild scar tissue, replacing the scarred tissue with the original tissue, which is why I don't have that big nasty scar on my leg any longer. Thank goodness for that. reduces fine lines and wrinkles, increases energy, sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. If you have pain relief, a lot of people just from wearing this patch will get 50 to 100% pain relief within 3 to 4 minutes of having it applied. And Dr. Galley, who we just started him on the patches a couple months ago, less than a couple months ago, actually, and he was wearing a knee brace because he had fallen down. We took the knee brace off. I told him, point to the pain on your knee, and then we patched it just with the X39. And within a couple minutes, he's like, my God, he goes, the pain is gone already. I go, this is not even our pain management patch. This is just replacing and regenerating damaged cells. But a lot of people experience 50 to 100% pain relief within 3 to 4 minutes just with this patch. And for people who have much more severe pain, then we'll use the ice wave patch, which just turns off, literally like an on-off button. It turns off pain receptors so that while this patch is repairing, this one just turns it off so that you're more comfortable. And it's a silver patch. I know it looks red in this lighting because I got infrared lights here in my fixture above. I think, yeah, if I go like this, then you can tell that it's a silver and white envelope, which is called a sleeve. This way it's reflecting the red light. Okay, kind of ironic, isn't it? Because these all reflect infrared light. Okay, we don't do protocols like I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, but we do have a Veritas Consilium, which is a true plan of action. It's a recommendation. It's a regimen that we are using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to actually magnify the effects of these patches on the body to get a better, faster outcome. The next patch I'm going to talk to you guys about is the daughter activation patch. Very cool, very exciting. Daughter activation patch X49. This patch does something entirely different than the other patch. This patch, our body is so fascinating. Our original blueprint, when we were in our mother's womb, actually calls for radiation poisoning relief. Now, over time, that gets damaged because we're exposed to also all sorts of electromagnetic frequencies that are above our bandwidth ability to cope with. And because of modern day, we have so many electromagnetic frequencies. We live close to radioactive, nuclear power plants and things of that nature. This gets eroded. And so then our bodies decay because it's an overwhelm, right? But we can activate your original radiation poisoning relief mechanism inside the body where your body actually creates a Faraday cage to protect you. For those of you who are electricians or have a background in engineering and know a little bit about electrical engineering, you know about Faraday cages. Those of you who studied about radio frequencies, again, you know about the Faraday cage and how it protects your electromagnetic frequencies, right? This patch is going to protect you from those things. This is going to increase your lean muscle mass, bone density, muscle mass, and strength. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to increase your energy, your focus, your cardiovascular function. It's going to protect you against electromagnetic frequencies from 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, TSA scanners, X-ray machines at the dentist's office, orthopedist, whatever kind of doctor you're at, mammograms, DEX scans, on and on and on. Any kind of scans that you're getting by any means or medium in your work environment, at work, at home, etc. This patch is also going to reduce belly fat because it's going to use your belly fat instead of the glucose that's coming from your last meal. It'll use the belly fat as an immediate source of energy because there's 33% more energy going through your body because of activating these pluripotent cells. So it's going to use the belly fat as an immediate source of energy in order to fuel that body. And in doing so, it's going to, because it's increasing your bone density, it's going to reduce your osteoporosis. It'll simply disappear because as your bone density increases, your osteoporosis disappears. So we're going to now talk about the next 3 patches. We talked about the mother. Dun, dun, dun. It's the mother of all patches. And then we've got the daughter of all patches. Da, da, da. And now we're going to talk about the next 3, which are going to complete our fantastic 5. Glutathione, carnosine, and eon. Okay. These are the 3 master antioxidants of the body, and these are called the Y-age system. Y-age, when you can rejuvenate, right? So, oh, by the way, got to remember to drink from the time you get up until you go to sleep, 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. What does that look like? Well, if you weigh 150 pounds, you're going to drink 75 ounces of water. Weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces of water. Not at one sitting. This is from the time you wake up. I recommend you get a glass water bottle or a hydro flask or a pitcher. Have it next to your bedside. So the moment you sit up before you go to the bathroom, you're going to break the fast of being hydrated or of eating. You're going to jumpstart your metabolism. Your metabolism is going to go, oh, wow, okay, she's hydrating us. Oh, thank goodness. Because again, your DNA needs that because your DNA is 92% water. We talked about how your brain is hydrophilic. It loves water. But your DNA, the primary structure that holds your DNA is water. It's 92% composition is water. So water is the number one building block protein and structure that holds up your DNA. It's how important that is. And I already talked about when you're hydrated, your proteins are open, they're up. But when you're dehydrated, they fold. They don't work properly. So drink your water. I mean, do whatever you want, but I'm just suggesting if you want optimal health, you might want to drink some water, 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Okay, so let's talk about glutathione. Glutathione is so incredibly important because it is present in every single organ of the body. Your brain, your heart, your lungs, spleen, pancreas, gallbladder, every organ. Glutathione is there. And it's also present in every muscle of your body, from the top of your head down to your toes. The absence of glutathione or low glutathione levels, and we're not here to diagnose anything, but we find that people with certain neurological conditions have a deficiency in glutathione. We find that in patients who have senility, Alzheimer's, dementia, they have low glutathione levels. We find people who have autoimmune disorders have low or no glutathione, which is why oftentimes people who have brain infections, people who have, I already mentioned autoimmune disorders, that's why oftentimes it's recommended that they get an IVIG, immunoglobulin, or intravenous immunoglobulin therapy, where they're going to get glutathione intravenously to boost their glutathione levels. Would never recommend to take oral supplementation of glutathione because you have enzymes, you have agents in your stomach that destroy glutathione the moment the glutathione reaches your stomach. So it's not something you can take orally. There's tons of studies that show that. People who take glutathione supplements orally, they're just throwing away their money. Look it up yourself. You can look it up. National Institute of Health, NLH, PubMed, tons of research that show oral intake of glutathione doesn't work because there are things in your stomach that actually destroy it. And so you get zero benefit from that. Only benefit is intravenous through an IV, an injection, which is also done intravenously, or through activating your own nascent, your original blueprint of whatever. If your original blueprint says that your glutathione levels from where you are now, if they have to be 555% higher than what they were prior to patching, it's going to restore you to whatever your natural original level was, because your original playbook is opened back up through applying these patches. Okay, so what does this master antioxidant do? Number one thing is it is a master detoxifier. It's going to detoxify you and it's going to boost your immune system. The moment you put this patch on, your glutathione levels will be 300 to as high as 600% higher than they were before. Just wearing this patch, the 39 will increase it 30%. So it's going to help you some. Next level game changer. When you reset your original glutathione levels to come back to where they were prior, to when you were in your 30s, you're going to have a lot more immune system protection, a lot more detoxification. This increases your antivirals, and very, very important, glutathione is a radioprotector against DNA damage. It's going to protect your DNA from getting damaged. It's going to improve your skin appearance because, again, it's through every muscle of the body, and it's going to help promote relaxation and reduce stress. Glutathione is innately tied to your nociceptive system. Most people have never heard of your nociceptive system, but that has to do with your ability to feel pain, the pain receptors that are throughout your skin and your muscles, etc. Very powerful patch. This research paper quote says, Pay attention to any of the organs that are mentioned here, because if you have a condition that's tied to one of these organs, you know how important it is for you to wear this. Glutathione patches worn 12 hours daily over a period of just 4 weeks produced a highly significant improvement in physiologic functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, and pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in the pancreas with a statistical power of at least 72%. So stated differently, all the organs in the body achieve significant cellular, physiologic, functional status improvement compared to a baseline with a statistical power of at least 91%. That's pretty high percentage. This is found, this quote, in the nanoscale glutathione patches improved organ function. At the end of this, I will show you the website. It's just an educational site. You can't buy anything there, but it'll tell you, it'll show you all 90 clinical studies that we have done in the United States, Europe, and Asia. And it'll also show you our 120 global patents that we have worldwide. Carnosine. Carnosine, the root word to carnosine is carne, which is flesh. This master antioxidant improves your cardiovascular system. It is taking care of all things related to heart and muscle, and it improves healthy brain function. Your heart and your brain are uniquely tied and connected together to the degree that you have a good pump. There's no backages, no occlusions, no blockages in any of the arteries. You're going to have healthy brain function, unless you had a traumatic brain injury. If you had a healthy heart and you got hit in the head with a baseball or in a car accident or a biking accident, or like in my case, I got hit, literally got hit from behind by a bus and went flying. My heart was good, although it was pounding like crazy, obviously, when that took place. But now I have brain damage, even though I had a good pump, and then it throws everything off, right? This patch is responsible for restoring not only your cardiovascular system, but your healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time. Some of you are going, brain processing time, what does that mean? That is your ability to quickly and effortlessly and easily recall without efforting anything that you've learned in the past, whatever you've memorized, whatever you have to recall from something as little as 5, 15, 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, 6 hours ago, 6 months, 6 years, 6 decades ago. You're able to recall it without effort. That's the brain processing time. It gets expedited through wearing this patch. Mine is definitely way faster. Your strength, your stamina, your endurance, and this also detoxes your brain from aluminum. We're just on the heels of Thanksgiving right now as we're doing this broadcast. We're at the beginning of December, right? The 4th of December. So how many of us had turkey and ham that was covered in aluminum foil as it was baked? How many of us had pumpkin pie, pecan pie? We had pecan pie. We had pumpkin pie. Delicious by oh my gosh, such good. It was like a pumpkin souffle pie. But a lot of times people will bake those in tin pie containers, right? How many of us have had juices, beers, wine, water, some sort of beverage in an aluminum can? How many of us have gone to an event where it was catered and it was brought in aluminum trays covered by an aluminum top? How many of us have baked a potato or whatever vegetables in the oven wrapped in aluminum foil because we didn't know any better? It's been about 25 or 30 years where we now know that aluminum is a known neurotoxin. And so up until 2014, all toothpastes in the United States were in aluminum tubes. So we've grown up with toothpaste that was absorbing traces of aluminum. And now we brush our teeth. We're not swallowing that toothpaste. But guess what? That toothpaste, as you're brushing your teeth, being absorbed by your gums. Your gums are right here and your brain is like right here, inches away. So now it's being directly absorbed through your gums straight into your brain. No wonder over the last 100 years, we've had such a radical increase. There's multiple reasons for the increase of dementia and Alzheimer's in our society and all sorts of neurological conditions too. Aluminum is one of the culprits, for that, and low glutathione levels. So this is going to offset that. You can unring the bell of damage with carnosine. Remember to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Okay, the last patch, the Eon patch, and then we're going to wrap this up and open this up for questions. This patch, I love this patch because this is our master anti-inflammatory patch. We call this the anti-stress and the happy patch, because it raises anti-neoplastins, which you've had since conception. And I'll tell you what that is in a second. It increases DHEA, not DHA. Some people confuse, they think they're the same thing, they're not. Look it up. By your actually taking the time to look it up and put DHEA versus DHA, you'll read and understand and begin to realize, oh, DHEA is the fountain of youth hormone. DHA is not. They do two totally different things. This increases your DHEA fountain of youth hormone. This patch also balances your left and your right brain so that as you are out of balance, it starts to bring you into homeostasis, into balance. And so people start to get mental clarity, focus, better processing, brain processing time. Things are clearer, sharper. You recall things. You start to remember things from when you were 5, 4, 3 years old, and so forth. Any anxiety, PTSD starts to get calmed down because as the brain is balanced and you have a reduction in the cortisol and the C-reactive proteins that your adrenals have produced in that fight or flight response when you're under a lot of pressure, you have a lot of frustration, you're being pushed to go, 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 you're having to hurry. Maybe you had, an accident, or maybe you had a traumatic loss of 1 or 2 or 3 or more people during the pandemic or more, or maybe you lost your house, or you lost your home, or you lost your business or your job, or what have you. Those are traumatic events that happen in your life and in your system, and it affects your chemistry. Your adrenals will produce cortisol, so you have the increased energy to respond with that fight or flight response. But if it's just like a car, if the car is stuck idling in 5th gear at 120 miles an hour, if you don't eventually downshift and bring the car back down to 3rd gear or 2nd gear, that engine will blow out. It'll burn up. You don't want that. Same thing is true with the human body. We can handle stress for short stints of time, but not months, years, and so forth. So this is going to reduce the cortisol levels and reduce your C-reactive proteins, bring them into balance. And so many people in the 3rd to 4th week, sometimes a little bit longer, but it's not uncommon. I get a lot of people calling me on the 21st day saying, oh my gosh, it's my 21st day. I feel so energized. I've got this great energy. I've got this great mental clarity, but I feel calm. I don't feel jittery. I'm not anxious. My OCD, my obsessive compulsive thinking, negative looping, all that is kind of like it's disappeared, where I'm just so much legitimately more happy. And that's an exciting place for me to be on the receiving end. That's where I get to be. Right now, I'm Santa Claus. I'm giving you guys this life-saving information, right? This incredible life-saving technology. But when I have you call me, you text me, you send me a video, you send me a voice message, you send me screenshots of, look, this is what I had. This is a screenshot of what my doctor told me. This was my state, my condition. This is what my diagnosis was. It's been 60 days. It's been 90 days. It's been 6 months, whatever the time frame is. And it's like, look, all of these things are resolved, or 70% of these things are resolved, or I got my eyesight back. I got 2 people who are no longer blind, who used to be blind, and so on and so forth. That's when I get to be the little kid under the Christmas going, whippy, whippy, whippy. So I do encourage you to share with me your wins, because that's like the best moment of my day is when I get that. And there's never 2 that are identical. They're always unique to you. So I appreciate your sharing that with me. Okay, so what are anti-neoplastins? Great question, because these are they're peptides that are found in the urine and blood of normal, healthy people. And the research studies are showing that they might stimulate your immune system. They also believe that these peptides might also kill certain cancer cells or prevent them from proliferating and growing. In a clinical setting, they're used for various cancers, high cholesterol, brain swelling, and infection due to any kind of condition, including encephalitis, meningitis, HIV, AIDS, and so forth, neurological conditions like Parkinson's, etc. There's no limitation as to, there's probably things that haven't even been invented yet that can cause these things. but the anti-neoplastins will repair and reset the body to a younger, healthier state, bringing down the number of cancer cells so that they don't go out of control. So the other thing to be aware of is that the LED lights that you have and the blue lights, like we're watching this broadcast, whether it's on YouTube or whether you're on the Zoom live, the blue light from your screen, desktop, laptop, cell phone, iPad, notebook, whatever your device might be, blue light destroys DHEA, which is the fountain of youth hormone in the body. Blue light also causes inflammation inside of your body, and it also increases insulin resistance. That means that inside each cell, you have this little organelle that's inside your cell. Let's make believe that this is the mitochondria and this is the cell. So this is going to get dysregulated and it's going to get damaged. The moment this gets damaged, your mitochondria is responsible for processing and making energy for the body. So if you have this damage, you're going to have massive inflammation and you're going to be diagnosed with one or more conditions and diseases at the same time. Not a good thing. Luckily, once you're wearing these patches, that gets reversed because the anti-neoplastins and the things that we discussed already are going to be in your favor. That brings us to, how much does this cost? Obviously, we can't charge you $1 million. And you know that traditional stem cell, stem cell therapy in the United States is not legal any longer, but we know, little earthquake, everything's still shaking. No big deal. We have them all the time here in California. Anyhow, traditional stem cell therapies by IV or injection run anywhere from 8,000 to 11,000 per session. And Dr. Stacy, she spent $125,000 for her daughter Taylor, left the country, and never saw the effects of stem cell activation in Taylor that she did when she started putting these patches on her daughter. And by activating her own original blueprint, for the first time, Taylor became verbal after just 2 months of wearing these patches. And also over the 2 months, you could see the visible difference, how her spine, she had a crooked spine because she had had a brain bleed when she was younger, and her spine actually started to straighten out. She could not look you in the eye. She was always kind of like more unconscious, looking out into outer space. She could now look you in the eye. She could carry a conversation. For the first time in her life, she was verbal. So extraordinary. I still feel that we are still scratching the surface as to the potential of what these can do for people. Because like I said, I now have my second person. Carol knows Annie, and Annie was completely blind, could not see anything at all. And she can actually now see. Okay, so you can get started on these patches for just $5 a day, the equivalent of $5 to $11 a day. If you do $11 a day, then that's like 2 cups of coffee a day. You can get on the Fantastic 5 for about $11 a day. Okay, if you're willing to buy 3 months in advance, then you can bring that cost down by as much as 50%. I'm going to share here with you. This is our Dr. Wholesale form. You won't see it on our link. You can go to the retail site, to the person who referred you to this video, and you'll see that just the mother and the daughter stem cell activation patch. These are each $149. If you come back to the person who referred you to this video, we can put you on a Dr. Wholesale pack, and you can see clearly here that like the Fantastic 5, we would put you on these 5, you save $50 a sleeve, and now you drop them to just $100 a piece. It's $499 instead of $750. It's a pretty significant savings. And in this pack, because it's a Dr. Wholesale pack, you'll also get 3 additional sleeves. After your first month, then it drops to $329 a month. Going to the Diamond pack, if you're willing to buy 3 months in advance, you can then get the Diamond pack, which will give you, it says here 19 sleeves, but in effect, what we do end up getting you is 5 months, because they bonus you 10 sleeves. So you get 10 additional ones. So you'll end up here with 5 times 5 is 25, about 25 to 27 sleeves with this Diamond pack. And we have a Christmas special that's going on that you can actually get a year of the mother activation patch and 6 months of this, and then 1 month of the glutathione, carnosine, and eon, and 3 months of our neurology, digestion, and hormone patch for $17.49. It's about a 40% savings. Okay. So let me open this up with questions. You can also text us to get the To Get Started text, which is we just need this information in order to enter you into our back office so that you can take advantage of one of these Dr. Wholesale packs. We'll always make sure that we customize it to you. To learn more about our 90 clinical studies and 120 patents, you can go to startx39now.com. Check that out to your heart's content. There's nothing to buy there. It's purely educational. If you want to get the To Get Started text, because some people don't have time to get on a call or a Zoom, you can just call the hotline. Make sure you let us know that you want the To Get Started text. We'll send you we'll only send you the To Get Started text if you ask for it. So whatever question you have, we can answer it, or you can also put your question also in the YouTube comments below. I'll make sure to get back to you. If you want a private consult about your particular thing, we can do that as well. Again, get back to the person who referred you. You can ask them for the To Get Started text. You can ask them to get you started. We have a whole group that is really passionate and dedicated to wanting to make sure that you get started the right way. To review this video and to watch the replay or to share it with your friends and family, you can go to damelillianwalker.com, and you'll also see the stories of transformation as well as education. I do go over a lot of the case studies and show you the case study, read it to you, and then language it into layman's terms so that you can understand it and ascribe a meaning to it so you understand what it is that you're doing with each patch. If you want to do a little snapshot of some of the bullet points, giving you an opportunity to do that now. Ready, get set, go. Okay, just a reminder to get back to the person who referred you. Let me answer any questions that you have at this time. Anybody have any questions at this time that I might be able to answer for you? We've got Alice and Bonnie. We've got Carolyn, Bradley, and Dan. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to ask you to start your video. You already have your video, Bonnie. If you have a question, let me know. Otherwise, we'll let you guys go. All righty. No questions? All right, my friends and gems. Have a beautiful rest of your Monday evening. Thank you for showing up here to learn more about how you can activate your cells. Hey, Dan. Love you guys all, my friends and gems. Be sure to like this video on YouTube. Go to damelillianwalker.com. Like this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the little notification bell because that'll let you know every time we upload a new video. And then people like you that are looking for this type of content will be able to find it because it tells YouTube that you like this content. So it'll push it out to more people. And that's basically it. All right. Ciao for now, my friends and gems. Tomorrow, we'll see you at 2 p.m. I'm on here every day at 2 p.m. and at 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday. So Monday through Saturday at 2 and Monday through Thursday at 7. Ciao for now. Make it a great one.